Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Amara's annual fundraiser, Together We Thrive. My name's Farron Johnson. I'm the Director of Strategic Initiatives at Greentrike, as well as a member of Amara's Pierce County Advisory Council. I'm so excited to be with you guys tonight, celebrating Amara's 100th anniversary, and I'm here with the spicy, fabulous new CEO, Scarlett Aldebott Green.
Thank you so much, Farron. That was the best introduction ever, so I'm going to try to match it. I'm Scarlett Aldebott Green, and I joined Amara as its CEO this past August. I'm so grateful to have Farron here, and we're going to hear a little bit more about her and why she is working with our organization in a bit. I am just thrilled to say that the past 2 months have given me just this incredible opportunity to learn about our organization and all of the people deeply connected to it for such a long time. We want to start tonight just with gratitude for everyone that is part of the Amara family. Thank you all for joining us virtually. I know that I am pretty over the virtual space, and so we really appreciate you all hanging with us and showing up and doing this in pandemic form, which hopefully won't be the case next year. So thanks for sticking with us. I'd also like to thank you, our generous supporters, for their support year after year. We're incredibly fortunate to have so much love from the business community. So as a new CEO coming into an organization in the midst of the pandemics, the perfect time to switch jobs, I'd be remiss if I didn't just thank our amazing staff, board members, advisory council, donors, foster families, kinship families, adoptive families, and just all the parents who are leaning in to support kids and each other during such a difficult time. Your worlds have been turned completely upside down, and you are just showing up over and over again together to benefit our youth and kids. So truly, thank you. And finally, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't share that this is Amara's only fundraiser this year. Tonight is about sharing stories, ours and yours, celebrating our milestones, and raising the critical funds that it takes to run our programs. Farron will give little fundraising updates as we go through through the program, and I want to make sure that you know that you're invited to make a gift at any point during the evening. So here are some ways you can do that. If you're streaming from your computer, you can just click on the link located to the left of the video that says Donate Now. And if you're watching from your phone, you can also look for the donate link right below the video. You can text Amara 2021, just all one word squished together with the first letter capitalized, to 366283, and you'll get a link that will take you directly to our giving page online. You can also, the easiest way might be go to our website at amarafamily.org/donate, and you can donate there. Lastly, we want to remind you that we have a special matching fund tonight. All of our gifts of $250 or more will be matched dollar for dollar. So let's do this.
Let's do this. Now, as we head into the program and reflect on Amara's 100-year anniversary in Puget Sound region, we want to acknowledge that we do our work with families on traditional land of the Coast Salish people, which includes the Duwamish and Puyallup tribes. Scarlett and I come to you tonight at our Seattle office, and we would like to acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish people, past and present, and honor with gratitude the land itself and the Duwamish tribe. We also wish to honor the Puyallup people, whose ancestral land is home to Amara's Pierce County office. We pay our respects tonight by sharing a short video that members of the Puyallup tribe have created for gatherings just like this. Please take a look.
Ati duf ati swatwiftud atish poyalapaj, a slatsasil, alti disha tu alturi tuha.
It is the land right here that the Puyallup people have lived on since the beginning.
This
right here is where we are in the world, our homelands.
Uyayus chas ati swatwiftud atish tu ishachas. Uklachachas tis badadachas. Och twati khalalt atis swatufted atis poyalapabs.
We work on our ancestral lands. We raise our children who go to school on the land of the Puyallup people.
Ohegwed chas ti shwananam tliti, ohashiteb ti pas pasted okweredu.
We acknowledge that the Medicine Creek Treaty was signed for the whites to take our land for their benefit.
Ohashiteb chas ati shwananam tliti ati swatwiftud chas. Otsuti pas pasted squat lup swatwiftud lup. Toch al bequechita batis pas pasta tiswatwif chas.
Land was assigned to our people. The Caucasians said, "This is your land," and they took that land from us too.
O karari tub chas ati swat pud chas. O zak atub tis kliti.
Our land was stolen from us. Treaties were broken.
Toch didich chas a tislachel.
But we are still here today.
U hui chasha tu kwelin, chasha tu ish, chasha tu alalos, chasha tu tol shot sidam.
Our people forage for food and materials, we pick berries, we canoe, we practice our traditional ways, and we speak Twelshutsi.
Cholab atis tu yelt yelab chas.
Just as our ancestors did.
Hoya chas.
We are finished.
We recognize that acknowledgement is only the first step and that we are called to invest in ongoing relationships and partnerships with Indigenous communities. At our core, we believe in the power of relationship, and I am just incredibly proud to be part of an organization as we work intentionally and proactively to dismantle systemic and longstanding racism and bias. In the way we do our work with each child that we touch and each person that is involved in the child welfare system.
Can we dig down deeper into that, Scarlett, just a little bit? As Amara's new CEO, I would love to hear more about what brings you to this work and the goals that you have for Amara.
Absolutely, Farron. I really appreciate the question. So my family story is somewhat complicated, and I'll try to do it. I know we have just times that to share in the program, but I'll try to kind of run through it a little bit quickly. So I'm originally not from the U.S. I'm from the Dominican Republic, where we don't have a very well-established child welfare system. And in my family history, there are times when a child welfare system would have benefited some of the children in our family. And in our family history as well, we have adoption as part of our story, and then we also have informal kinship as part of our story. So I always grew up with an orientation of, knowing that what kids need is not always centered, and really being informed by my mom specifically about, the need to look at the lives of kids and really try to center their needs and the relationships that they need to have in order to stay connected and form an identity and be well supported. So for me, taking this job was a part of sort of the realization of all that I grew up with. And before taking this job, I was a foster parent through Amara for about 3 years, a little shorter than that. And what I really appreciate about this organization is the way my family was held and supported in forming relationships to children's families and creating a space of openness so that kids could feel loved and supported by all the adults involved in their lives. So that's in part what brings me to this organization and this work generally. And in terms of the goals that I have for our organization is really that, developing programs and ensuring that we are centering kids in the way that we create and support the work that our families are doing and the programs that wrap around them. So Farron, I know that you have a really interesting story as well that brings you to this work, and so I want to turn it over to you to share that. But before that, I just want to give a heads up to our viewers that part of your story could perhaps feel that is not appropriate for younger children, and so just give you an opportunity to take a moment if you have younger kids in the room, make a decision for your family.
Yeah. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the space to be authentic with my story. I'm wearing this 253 bracelet. I wear it all the time. I was just sharing that my children are like, man, that's like 10 years you've had that bracelet on. What's going on?
Kids will call you out like that.
They will call you out. But it really grounds me, and it reminds me of where I came from. And I'm a Pierce County girl. I grew up in Tacoma, but I entered into the foster care system at 6 months old. I was conceived from rape. My mother had a mental illness, so unfortunately, kinship was not an option for me. I bounced around in foster care, and for anyone who knows, when you're constantly in a space of moving, there sometimes the emotion that comes up is like, why am I not wanted? Do I fit? Do I belong? And because I moved around in the system so much, that type of thinking followed me. And when I was placed in the home of an older couple, they're from the South, very old school family. My foster mom wasn't able to have children, but she fostered children. I was placed in that home, and it was the first time that I really felt a sense of what it means to not just be included, because you can be included in spaces and not feel like you belong, but that sense of belonging. She also found out that I had a sister, a half sibling, that was in a different foster care home. And she went and found her, brought her back into the space so that we could at least have that type of kinship to grow up. Now, did we have rosy experiences in foster care? No, we did not. You know, we faced trauma. And for those who understand ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, like my sister and I hit them all. But how my foster mom helped us to process was she paid attention to our triggers. She plugged us into things that fit our interest, that helped us process. For me, it was art. Art is what saved my life. It helped me to write. I wasn't always one who liked to be in front of folks talking, but I could sure write about how I felt, right? And I chose who I wanted to share that with and who I didn't have to share that with. But she paid attention to that. She made sure that one size didn't fit all for all of us that was in the space, because we were not the only ones being fostered by her. She fostered all the way up until eventually we became foster adopted, and my sister and I were the only ones who she adopted. But she continued to foster even while we were in the space. But she also realized that each child is coming from a different perspective, a different space, a different experience. And if she could get them back to home, that was her goal, was to get them back to home. So I come to Amara and support Amara because I know that this is the mission and the vision and the goal of this work. And it's an honor for me to be able to be here tonight and talk a little bit more about how impactful this work is.
Thank you so much, Farron, for sharing, a deeply personal story, but that really speaks to the reason we need to have people that have been involved in the system and have lived experience inform the direction of our work. And I'm going to remind you had a picture you wanted to show us.
I did. It's so interesting. I'm with Green Trike, so shout out to my Green Trike people that's, watching right now. But as new employees, we are asked to send a picture of us as a young child, and then a picture of us as we are today. I'm probably about 4 or 5 years old. I was in foster care at this time. But even though I had some challenges, you see there, I titled myself as a dreamer. And I'm a dreamer because today, the reason why I'm here today is because of the woman who adopted me. And I'm able to do this work and expanded learning opportunities that plugs young people into interests, passion, caring adults that are in the space. It's not just plugging them into clubs or activities or rec. So this is who I was, right? But who I was helped to inform who I am today. And so I just wanted to share that and let any young person that's out there wondering, like, what is your identity? You can make it what you want it to be, and just surround yourself around caring adults. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Farron. So next, I wanted to just introduce a debut of Amara's newest family video, and it really shows the journey of 2 boys and their mom and their foster family, and how, together all these adults work to do exactly what you just said, just be present and be the adults in the kids' lives who responded to their needs as those needs evolved and changed, and stayed connected to make sure that the kids had what they needed and that the kids were the priority.
I'd always had this sense that I could love any kid. I had always been interested in foster care and adoption. We interviewed several different foster agencies, and Amara really drew me to them because they were focused on the whole picture of the birth parent, of the child, of foster parents, of all the support. Our very first placement was Shelby.
She was 5 weeks old when we picked her up.
Our goal was to grow our family through foster care, and we were looking for placements that we thought would lead more to adoption.
When we were called about Marcel and Marcos, we really were excited to essentially adopt.
Marcel and Marcos's mom was incarcerated, and so there was no visits happening. We were able to set up visits with Marcel and Marcos's grandpa, and we were able to build a pretty good relationship with him that summer. He was in support of us having the kids, and he was really pushing for us to want to adopt the children.
At the time that I got pregnant, I knew I had absolutely no business raising children. Marcel was born clean, sober, healthy, and I was able to take him home. Unfortunately, after Marcel was born, I slipped back into addiction. And Marcos was born drug exposed. And that was the moment that I knew I needed real help, real serious help. I was in jail, and I called my father because I was afraid where my kids were. I was afraid. I was just afraid. He pretty much told me that the kids had gone into care that day and that they were gone. I was just devastated. I went back to my cell, and I went in circles for about an hour until I got a piece of paper, and I wrote down with like the fire of, you know, God himself. I wrote down all the things I needed to do when I got out of jail to get my kids back. When I got the chance to meet Josh and Sarah finally, one of the very first things she said was, you know, I'm Sarah, nice to meet you. And, you know, if it's optional, I would love to adopt the kids. That's on the table for us, and we would love to take them. And I just remember my whole world crumbling down, like, this lady is gonna take my kids.
I was really trying to get Sammy to see our side, and she was very closed off to us. I didn't understand why she was closed off. We would argue about holidays, for example, Christmas. We wanted the boys with us because we felt like they were part of our family. But she was fighting to have visitation on Christmas, and so there was a lot of conflict there. We were really pushing to have a family planning meeting so we really could determine where we were going. So we set up this meeting at Amara, and we were talking about what is the plan for the future.
That is a meeting where my dad came, my aunt came. Pretty much everybody who had a stake in this case was at the table.
It was her family that was saying things like, look at Sarah and Josh. They have a beautiful home, they have a beautiful family. Why would you not want the boys to be raised in their house?
I didn't know even where to begin. I was just defeated in this meeting. I was just so defeated.
And in that moment, it was like I was able to step out from me being the foster mom of Marcel and Marcos and like seeing Sammy for who she was.
I was really going down, and Sarah, she put her fist on the table and she said, nobody's saying you can't do this, Sam. Nobody is saying that. What we're saying is you need the supports to be able to do this successfully. It was the moment that I knew she was an ally, like she was safe. Like I looked at her with different eyes after this meeting. And I know truly she loves them as her own. And I saw that from the beginning. And I think that's why I saw it as such a threat. But I think there's a flip that switched in her, and she quickly realized that she wasn't, you know, the best place for the boys, that I was.
Oh, look at his ad stuff. Here, you guys, get up on my side. Get up.
Shelby!
Marcel and Marcos and Shelby, they really grew up together, and they really, in their heart, are still siblings. And you just can't take that away from them.
Come here. Oh my goodness. Hey, Sammy. Oh my God. I know. Oh my gosh, the glasses are so cute.
We love having them over. The kids always play really well. Shelby gets all worked up and excited.
Amara was really instrumental in helping Sammy and us figure out a way to make the transition from our house to her house. After the boys reunified, it was true co-parenting. The boys would spend the night at our house to give Sammy a break over the weekend. Sammy would take Shelby for the day so that we could have a break. We would go to the boys' grandpa's house for their birthdays. Sammy's family did really see how she was changing and really taking care of the boys in the way that Marcel and Marcos needed. And so her family became much more supportive of her over time.
Hi. Hi.
Being a foster parent isn't easy. As we've talked to other prospective foster parents, I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to adopt, and it can certainly be a beautiful thing. But there's certainly a lot of power and beauty in reunifying, or after a certain amount of time, having these kids go back to live with their birth parents and being part of that story too.
If I am to love my children who in foster care or who are adopted, that means that I must advocate for them having a relationship with their first parents.
Sarah and Josh really opened the door for a relationship to build. And it was my choice as the birth parent to walk through that door. I knew I could do this, but I needed the support and even somebody just to tell me that I could do it. And Sarah and Josh, they were the support for me.
Okay, Marcel looks exactly the same. Wow, that's powerful. That's a powerful story right there. One of the things I loved most was to see what a supportive relationship they developed over the years with each other. And I love that they still get together for birthdays and holidays and provide respite for each other. They really just have a bigger family with more siblings and adults who love them.
Yeah, if I think about it, that's really the work. How a family is encouraged, how foster families are encouraged to open their heart and be open to whichever possibility is best for the child that's placed with them. How we as an organization support, kinship care providers or family when children are placed with them. The reality is that it's incredibly rewarding and challenging, and having the support of an organization that can help hold your hand as you sort of grow into that space is incredible. That actually takes us to the next segment of our program, which is a conversation I had earlier this week with Nicole Mason, our Chief Program and Policy Officer. Nicole and I talk a little bit more about some of the programs on the horizon for Amara, including some new efforts to help family take care of family.
Let's take a look, but don't forget, your gifts tonight fuel the mission and help make the work you're hearing about possible. So click on that Donate Now link on the screen or visit amarafamily.org/donate. You can also text to Amara 2021-2021, one word, to 366283, and you'll get a link that will take you directly to the event giving page online. Let's take a look.
Hi, Nicole. Thank you for joining me today. I'm really excited to take a deeper look at how Amara has evolved over the past 7 to 10 years. And before we get too far, can you introduce yourself a bit and tell us a little bit about who you are?
Yeah, thanks, Scarlett. I'm Nicole Mason. I'm Amara's Chief Program and Policy Officer, and I've been with Amara for just over 6 years. I started as a foster care specialist and have grown through and with the organization while I've been here.
Great, thank you. So in that time, you've really been at Amara for quite a period of evolution. There's been a really big mindset shift in how we support kids who are involved in the child welfare system, and really in how we are doing that work. So I'm curious, From your perspective, what really sparked that shift, and how did we move from being primarily focused on adoption as an organization and then really moving to family preservation and supporting first families and reunification?
Yeah, thanks for that question, Scarlett. Gosh, we're an organization that's been around for 100 years, so it has been a long time coming. One of the things that I am most proud about that we do as an organization is when we learn better, we do better. And I think you can see that through our history. And what I've seen in the 6 years that I've been here is really the shift from being an adoption agency to a foster care agency. And that in that work that really started at the program level, we see and learn from our families that keeping families together and really keeping kids connected to their families is integral in them building strong identities and being strong human beings. And that it's just really important for families and kids to have that connection. And that's something that we learned from families. Our community gave us that feedback. We listened to them, and they helped us support other families in doing even better. And this is a shift that's happening not just at Amara, but locally in Washington State and then also nationally. And we're really seeing that everyone is focused on doing everything that they can to really prevent youth from coming into the child welfare system, the foster care system to begin with. And when that can't be prevented, that it's really everyone's job to focus on getting kids back home, and that all of our work is on keeping families together. And we have been at the front end of doing that work as an organization. And we've seen that shift both within child welfare as well as within the adoption realm. And we know that it's just important to keep pushing this forward. And I know that you have personal experience with this, and you've worked to build relationships as a foster parent with children's families. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit about what your experience with Amara was like from that end.
Sure, happy to. So, what's really interesting is you go through a lot of training to become licensed as a foster parent. And there are a lot of ideas that your training kind of touches on that are pretty abstract. So, it's important for kids to feel like they can talk about their families while they're in the caregiver's home. And it's important for you to try to build a connection wherever possible. But it isn't really until the first time that you have kids arrive in your home and you suddenly realize that you have a kiddo or a set of kiddos who are total strangers to you, that even if you have experience, as was our case in raising children, you don't know these particular kids, and you don't know their likes and dislikes and fears, and you certainly don't know just a ton of what has happened in their lives right up until that point. And so in order to really make them feel comfortable and make them feel like they're at home and ensure that that transition is as non-traumatizing as possible, it's amazing to have the ability and have the support to know how to forge a connection with the kids' families. And for our family, that I think was the really critical piece of what we got in terms of support from Amara. It's a very daunting task to reach out to kind of the unknown and say, your kids are okay, they're safe, they're happy, they're asleep, they ate dinner. Would you like to attend the next doctor's appointment in some way? It's really hard to do that for foster families and caregiver families, I think in general, at the beginning of a relationship and at the beginning of a placement. And being just supported in that and having someone to call, which in our case was, our foster care specialist through Amara, and say, like, is it okay to send this to a visit? Is it okay to send this kind of text? And building that skill set and connecting to family was, I think, the most critical thing that we received and that felt really held in and grew our ability to really hold that space for kids where they could be themselves in our home and be themselves with their families and not feel like they needed to sort of pick and choose alliances, and they could just, be as natural as possible during a really difficult, traumatic time in their lives. So I know as CEO, that work with first families, work with kinship caregivers, prioritizing reunification is something that I see as the direction that our organization will continue to go in. And I know that your team, Nicole, will be working on developing kinship support. So can you maybe talk a little bit about that work that we'll be taking on in the next few months?
Absolutely. So we're really excited to be building out our kinship program. And kinship is when family takes care of family. It's when family steps in, when there's a crisis, and they're able to support their own family. And kinship caregivers can be grandparents or aunts and uncles or cousins, or they can even be a mentor or a family friend. And it's having a person that a child knows or has some kind of background relationship, some kind of identity that they share, so that they don't have that experience that you had where it's a complete unknown, it's a stranger. And there's so much value in that. The transitions for kids, for their families, are smoother, and the outcomes for kids and families are better. Kids who go into kinship care rather than foster care have better well-being outcomes, health, education. They're in the child welfare system, in this foster care system for shorter periods of time than their counterparts who are in classical foster care. So we just know that this is better for kids. And so we want to make it more accessible for families and kids. And we want to make sure that we're supporting kinship families, because one of the other pieces is that kinship families are disproportionately supported and also disproportionately representative of the kids who come into care are disproportionately represented in kinship care. So Black and Indigenous families are stepping up and caring for their own families more, and they're not getting the financial support that foster families get. And so that's something that we really want to work to rectify. And we have the opportunity to do that with this federal grant opportunity. We're one of 5 organizations in the country that was selected. And it really just is an indication of the way that things are shifting nationally, a recognition that what we want to do, which is really centering family first, is something that we want to do as a nation and as a society. So we're really excited to work with kinship families to build out a program that's really going to support them and shift their experiences and really impact policy both locally and nationally. So very excited to start this program.
Thank you so much for sharing that work. And, my experience, and as I've gotten to know all of our program teams, that's really our sweet spot as an organization, just bringing deep and meaningful supports to everyone that's involved in a child's care, and ensuring that they are connected to each other, and really center the well-being of that child. I think, the learnings from this work and just taking it broader into the field and helping shift policies and practices is going to be critically important as well. And I'm really excited to be engaging in that work with you. Thank you, Nicole.
Thanks, Scarlett.
It's so interesting to get a peek into what some of the conversations must be like for your staff, Scarlett. And I'm really appreciating how Amara is pushing itself to center young people while also wrestling with how nuanced each child's story and experience is. One of the things I'm really seeing is how much Amara focuses on relationships and wants to make sure that the adults, regardless of whether they are foster parents, family members, or parents, are supported to be there for young people.
Absolutely. We just know that no 2 stories are the same, and that what kids ultimately need is just extremely specific to that child's circumstances and the family around that child. And just having the adults work together to center what those needs are, as I said before, as they evolve and form healthy relationships with each other as much as possible and when possible and appropriate for the child, making sure that there are opportunities for all of those adults to be available for the kids in the ways that they are able to show up and can. show up, it's critical. So, to your own story, what can make such a difference is the grown-ups in a child's life, seeing that child as an individual, just as they would see, an adult, and identifying what those needs are and supporting that child exactly where they need and pivoting as those needs change. So when we do that, we know that just the long-term lasting impact is incredible.
Yeah, that's so true. And what I see every day in my own work with young people in Pierce County is why I'm so committed to making sure that all youth have a place where they belong and they can be themselves. And when you have that space and that support, there's no saying what amazing things they can do. They're ready. They're bold. They have a lot to say, and they need that wisdom around them.
Absolutely.
So I'm really honored to introduce this next piece in recognition that developing young people is really the most important investment a community can make. The next story is told through music, which is something I love because I like to think I'm a little artist at one point in my life, which is close to my heart and what kept me going when I was young.
Are you going to break out in a song?
I might break out into some music here in just a second.
I'll
but
join you if
next,
you do.
You'll be hearing the beautiful voice of Kathy Nguyen, an incredible young woman who was also in foster care and had been a leader on Amara's community leadership team. In her role on the community leadership team, Kathy is helping to shape the direction of Amara's 29-acre property. I'm so excited to get a piece of that in Pierce County so that we can come together as a community to move the child welfare system to something that really centers kids and families' well-being. Please enjoy Kathy's art as she sings Read All About It by Emily Sande.
Wow, that was just absolutely incredible. I was sitting here tearing up. Thank you so much, Kathy, for that powerful performance. We're just so grateful to have your voice with us as we shape the future of child and family well-being in Pierce County.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Kathy. Art heals, y'all. And we are so lucky to have your leadership, Kathy, molding ideas and visions for the future. Scarlett, we're getting towards the end of the evening, and I want to do a quick fundraiser update. I'm so excited to share that so far we've raised a little over $113,000 tonight. But let's keep it going. Come on, everyone, continue to donate. You know how to do it. And we'll just continue to get funds so that we can do this good work and impact our communities.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. This is just so exciting, and we are so grateful for your support. I'm thrilled to be at the point in the night where we are going to take a couple of minutes to celebrate this organization's 100th anniversary. So this next video is a really special look back and look forward to the last century of all the promising opportunities we have taken on and succeeded at, and then the opportunities that we have ahead as well. So let's hear from 6 very incredible people, all of who have meaningful ties to Amara, as they reflect on our first 100 years of work with kids and families. And then after that, you'll hear a special message from 2 of Amara's esteemed board members. Enjoy.
Amara began in 1921 as Medina Children's Services. And it was an orphanage where infants and very young children would remain there with the hopes of being adopted out of that orphanage. Amara was one of the agencies that sort of helped frame the thinking to develop foster homes for children versus having them housed together in a large orphanage.
I think what makes Amara really unique is that they embrace all the important people in a child's life. So everyone is seen as valued and as part of that child's story.
I discovered early on that Amara was one of the leaders in the arena of child welfare and was an agency who really spoke to the needs of children. And over many initiatives that were undertaken in the legislature over the 20 years I was there, Amara was right beside me on most of them and was actually the one who proposed them many times.
Amara is like refreshing, mindful, and really empowering organization. They really care about youth themselves and make it a point to like be mindful of so many different things, including like racial and equity matters and LGBTQ sensitivities. It's really needed to be like thinking of youth first and families first and really checking on them, and I think Amara is doing that.
Over the years, as we have evolved, both as adoptive parents and foster parents, and understanding the importance of supporting reunification, Amara has also gone through an evolution. From an agency that 15 years ago had a domestic infant adoption program to an agency now that is really recreating itself with lived experience at the core and examining how do we reunify kids, how do we support parents not only at the beginning, but all through a case and kind of build those extended families.
The fact of the matter is that all children thrive best when they're with their biological family. So I definitely have seen a huge shift in the last 5 years with Amara in wanting to make sure that they are doing what they can do to keep families together. I think about the mom that was just like me, homeless, experiencing mental health, substance use disorder, that mom just needs that little piece of extra help. I do believe that Amara is wanting to and is stepping up to the plate to be able to assist in that.
I'm very excited about the vision that Amara has for actually creating a community in Pierce County where foster families and birth families and kinship care families and providers can work together to provide a healthy community for children.
The success of a community is evident in the prospects of its children. And we've got some metrics in Pierce County that need to improve. And organizations like Tacoma Housing Authority and Amara are necessary for that improvement. I think Amara's property in Pierce County is a rare chance. It's raw land. Amara will design it from scratch for the purpose. So that can make it an intentional community designed as it needs to be to serve the families and children Amara have in mind.
I hope that Amara just continues to be at the forefront of reimagining child welfare as a support to families instead of a replacement for families.
Amara has helped lead the whole movement to see that, no, this is all about supporting that child. And foster parents can be a tremendous support to bring the children back into their families and help them to be able to parent.
Because of the work Amara has been doing, I think that I could have been more supported as an LGBTQ youth. Like, I felt like I maybe would have been more comfortable coming out into that in foster homes if I had been supported by an organization like Amara. Foster youth are so much more than like a statistic. They are homeowners. They agitate systems that have been disrupting homes and lives for years, and they are authors and all these amazing things. And it's just shown me that aging out or not, adopted or not, like regardless of how you're involved in the child welfare system, you can come out of it a better person. Like you can come out of it and heal.
Amara is doing amazing work. They are listening to the community, they're hearing what the needs are, and they are following through with just that.
Amara has lasted 100 years because we adjust, we're innovative, we draw people into the work, and so we are able to be community partners in so many different dynamics and so many different levels. I guess when you're doing good work, just time flies.
Wow, I hope you enjoyed that reflection of the important work Amara has done these past 100 years. What an honor it is to be with you tonight, celebrating this special milestone in the kids and families Amara works with today. My name is James Johnson, and as a newer board member, I'm thrilled to spend a couple minutes with you this evening.
And I'm Peter Woodward. Like James said, we are excited to represent Amara's Board of Directors for this special event. Thank you for joining us, even in this virtual setting, to lean in and be part of our mission to change the way kids and families experience the child welfare system.
Peter and I are part of the Amara family because we're so passionate about being part of solutions that are rooted in family well-being and challenging the status quo. I was a child in foster care. Now that I'm an adult, it's incredibly meaningful for me to be part of an organization that centers kids, helps families stay connected and together, and believes in the resilience of kids, their parents, and the foster families that are part of the journey. Amara is doing the work that is really needed.
You've heard some incredible stories tonight about families Amara has worked with, about the impact of our 100-year history, and about what's next for our organization. Reimagining systems, especially one like the foster care system, is a big undertaking, but is one we know our community is ready for. As we start out on our next century of work, it's so important to have you with us. And that can start with making a gift of support tonight.
Now's the time that we ask you to give generously and to give from your heart. Please join us by following the link to donate on your screen. Every gift matters and helps propel this mission forward.
Thanks to each and every one of you for your support and for digging in. We can do this because together we thrive. Now back to you, Farron and Scarlett.
Thank you, James and Peter, for your leadership as Amara board members, and more importantly, for being tremendous supporters and advocates of kids and families. To make a gift, click on the donate link now on your screen or visit amarafamily.org/donate. You can also text Amara 2021 to 366283 and you'll get a link that will take you directly to the event giving page. As you take a moment to consider your support for Amara, Farron and I want to conclude the evening with two special awards. Farron, can I turn it over to you to announce our first award?
So yes, each year, Amara honors leaders from the community who have made a significant impact on the well-being of kids and families experiencing foster care. And we seek to shine a light on those whose dedication on the front lines, as well as behind the scenes, inspires the community to join a movement that transforms the child welfare system into one focus on improving family well-being. So in 2019, Amara dedicated this award to honor the legacy of Walt Zabriskie. Walt served children and families through Amara in so many ways, through his countless hours of volunteering as an advocate for families, as a board treasurer, a supporter, a networker, a community builder, and so much more. And my understanding is that Walt always took on every duty, no matter how big or small, with a smile. I'm thrilled to share that the 2021 recipient of the Walt Zabriskie Award is Cynthia Isabel. As you just saw in the 100-year anniversary video, Miss Cynthia spent her career walking alongside kids, youth, and families. During her 34 years at Amara, she made a remarkable impact on countless youth and families. Cynthia began her time at Amara supporting teen parents by teaching parenting skills and providing family support so they could continue their education and thrive. She was able to connect with and empower youth so beautifully that felt her genuine care and support. As an example of that, Amara got a call one day from a young woman looking for Miss Cynthia. She wanted to let her know that she was about to graduate from the University of Nevada. It had been a few years since this young woman's family had moved away and since she had seen Cynthia. But she called anyway to let Miss Cynthia know that she made a difference in her life. And over the years, Cynthia transitioned roles as a foster care specialist, where she supported numerous foster and adopted families as they navigated the joys and challenges of parenting and building relationships with parents and families and children in their care. Cynthia shared that one of the best things about working at Amara was that she got to stay with the same foster family throughout the entire fostering journey. Miss Cynthia, we're so grateful for you, for the many years at Amara, and most importantly, for your unwavering commitment to kids and families. Finger snaps to you, sister. Congratulations.
Congratulations indeed. I'd like to ask her to come out of retirement,
Yes,
but I don't, yeah. Just wow. Thank you again, Cynthia, for more than 3 decades of service to kids and families. Now, it is my pleasure to present our final award of the evening, the Stella Mae Carmichael Award. This award, established in 2008, was created to honor the legacy of a woman who fostered over 100 children in her home throughout her lifetime. Now, usually this award is presented by Adam Cornell, who is a prosecuting attorney for Snohomish County and a longtime child welfare advocate. He is also someone who was cared for by Stella Mae when he was in foster care. But due to the pandemic, as you can see, we've had to make some adjustments. So I am honored to share the recipient of the award directly with you, Devin and James Abejo. The Abejo family has been an Amara foster family for the last 5 years. They are incredibly committed to the needs of children and youth, including supporting relationships between children and their biological families when appropriate while the children are in care. They support relationships with and the well-being of siblings placed in other homes, and they support reunification when that is the right choice for a child and family. Devin and James also approach families impacted by child welfare with a sense of just deep empathy, believing that bad things can happen to individuals and families, and that a lot of the root of that is a social system that doesn't have a lot of safety nets for people. So they have opened their homes to nearly 20 children. They have remained in contact with many of them, as well as their families after reunification. Youth, parents, and social workers at the Department of Children, Youth, and Families even ask for this family by name. We continue to just be blown away by the ways that Devin and James show up for kids and family. So that is why they are the recipients of this year's Stella Mae Carmichael Award. Thank you so much, Devin and James, for all that you do.
Yeah. Congratulations, Devin, James, and Cynthia. You are all incredible examples of how our community members can make such meaningful differences in the lives of children and families. Thank you. And Scarlett, woo, we made it, girls.
Almost.
What a night it has been. The Amara family is absolutely incredible. I love these people. They're my family. I'm feeling so inspired by all the ways people are caring for our young people right now.
Absolutely. We are just so grateful for the incredibly community support, for you being here tonight, Farron. And we truly believe that everyone can play a role in supporting kids and families. We're raising funds tonight for our programs, but you can also volunteer, become a foster parent, share about our work with your network. contact your legislators and more. So check out our website, amarafamily.org, for more information about the many, many ways you can get involved. Farron, let's get a fundraising update. How are we doing?
King County, Pierce County is coming through, y'all. Like, we are at $196,000 raised. Thank y'all. Your gifts will help address the critical needs of kids in foster care, offer supportive and inclusive support to foster parents, to adoptees, to adoptive and birth families, as well as families whose children are in foster care. If you haven't had a chance yet, go ahead and contribute. And if you'd like to help, here's your last reminder to click on that Donate Now on the screen or visit amarafamily.org/donate.
Well, that's the end of our time together. Farron, thank you so much again for being my amazing co-host.
Yes, we made it.
We did it, and you all did it. Thank you so much for your incredible support. You are the force of change. Yeah. Families and children with lived experience are the force of change.
They are the
Thank
force
you.
of change. And, you know, there's one thing that was mentioned in the video. The young lady said, foster youth agitate systems. And
That's
if
right.
that is not true, I don't know what is, because it is so important, because you don't know how to create change if you've never experienced something or gone through something. And so that just was just a powerful reminder for those who are in the space and you're feeling powerless or you're wanting to bring change. Like, bring what you know, bring what you experience to the space, and just do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so thank you for supporting us and agitating systems.
Yeah. All right. Have a good night, y'all.
Good night.